Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Averie and today I will be bringing y'all my October wrap-up. So as you can see, we're not in my usual angle and location, mainly because I wanted to sit in a fluffy chair. That's it. Anyways, today I will be talking about the 13 books that I read in October. I had a pretty good reading month. I think I rated a lot of these quite high, and I found some new favorites this month, so I can't wait to share them with y'all. So the first book that I read in October, I have been talking about quite often on my channel recently, and that is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I know that I've talked about this book a lot on my channel, so I don't want to get into a big summary for you guys. Basically, if you want a little summary about it, it's about this girl named Stella who's on the autism spectrum, and she has a really hard time connecting with guys, talking to guys, being intimate with guys, and so she hires a male escort to teach her the ways of dating. And I loved this so much. So my whole life, I have struggled with social anxiety. It affects my life daily ever since I was a kid. If we were at a restaurant, us four as a family, my sister and my parents and I, if we were at a restaurant somewhere and like I wanted some more water or like I wanted some more salt, I would make my sister go get it for me because I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like even back then when I was like, what, like 6 years old and she was like 3, that's what we did. I would make a 3-year-old go get water and salt for me. I haven't been able to conquer my fear of talking to people. Before I knew what social anxiety was, I wrote it off as just like, oh, I'm just a shy kid. Or people just say, oh, don't mind her. She's just really, really shy. That's why she's really awkward and won't talk to you. I read this book and there are certain scenes where I just broke down crying, like, because I related to Stella so immensely, because when you're on the autism spectrum, a lot of the characteristics you may have is social anxiety. You have a really hard time talking to people, you don't know what to say, and it cripples you. I have read books about girls my age who have social anxiety, and I connected to it so immensely, but this book just like made me feel like there was someone else out there who was feeling the same way I was feeling. And I haven't really had that book, besides maybe 1 or 2, that have made me feel this way. And I just want to say I cannot thank Helen Hoang for writing a main character that I relate to so much. I can't thank her enough. This book just got a movie deal, and I'm really, really, really excited for it. And of course, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was The Duchess Tila by Tessa Dare. So this is a romance book, historical romance book that I really, really enjoyed. So this story is about the Duke of Ashbury, who is trying to find a wife in a short amount of time because he needs an heir. But he refuses to follow his heart or fall in love with anybody because he has a disfigurement on his face and he doesn't think any woman would truly love him, and he thinks that any woman who claims to love him is lying only to claim his wealth, basically. And so when a woman in a wedding dress just appears in his office one day, he proposes the idea of marriage to her. This was a really, really, really cute story. I will say I think I had a little bit of trouble with like just our main character, man. He was just so stubborn. But of course, I guess men are like that. I don't know a lot of men, so I wouldn't know. We have just that feeling of like, just talk to each other and everything will be okay if you just talked to each other and actually communicated. And but the problem was he never wanted to actually communicate his feelings to her. So I was kind of a little bit ticked about that. That's the only thing I could say. So I overall really enjoyed it and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The third book that I read in October is Wrong in All the Right Ways by Tiffany Brownlee. Okay, so if you haven't heard me talk about this book yet and you'd like to watch a rant review, I will link that down below for this book. I gave this on Goodreads, I say 2 stars. I'm in between 1 or 2 stars, 1.5. I don't know, I've never categorized a book as 1.5 before. Just like a lot of things are not good in this book. If you want a general summary, it's about this girl named Emma, and her family is adopting a foster sibling, and they're hoping for a younger child, but instead they bring home like a teenager Emma's age, and she starts to develop feelings for him. And this is also around the same time that Emma's class is learning about Wuthering Heights, reading about Wuthering Heights, and so that just like makes Emma's brain work even more about the whole situation, about her crush and how it relates to Heathcliff and Catherine in Wuthering Heights. And if you haven't read Wuthering Heights, it's basically a classic written by Emily Bronte, who is the sister of Charlotte Bronte, who wrote my favorite book, Jane Eyre. It's just a classic about like a gypsy boy being adopted into a family and then the sister of the family falling in love with him, but it's wrong in all the right ways. But this story is basically a retelling of that classic. But I DNF'd this halfway through. I got halfway through this book and it was just like, I don't need to read. I don't need to read this. Like nothing's happening at all. And I was like halfway through it, and so I just decided to read like the last 5 pages. And as I said in my rant review, I skipped 50% of this book, only read the last 5 pages of the other 50%, like the last half, and I knew exactly what happened. That's how much fluff is in this book. I did not like the main character at all. Didn't like her. The main character guy just, no. This is very overdramatic. I love forbidden romance, but this is not a good forbidden romance. I'm sorry. The 4th book that I read in October was Alien Mate by Kara Bristol. Kara, I'm sorry. This was free on Amazon at the time, so you may be seeing it again in my October ebook haul soon, possibly, if I didn't haul it in my last one. I don't remember. Basically, this is about this woman named Star Connor. She has been falsely convicted of murder. The government decides to implement this new policy where they will be bringing women from Earth to this ice planet called Draken in hopes to exchange some goods that Draken has for women, because Draken is low on women. They have a bunch of men, alien men, but they don't have a lot of women. Their women are dying out. And so they do this exchange, but they don't tell all the people of Draken that all the women that they've traded over are felons. They've all committed some sort of crime. Star is one of those people. It's just about Star and the alien man who chooses to marry her, and about their story, and Star trying to come with the grips with whether or not she should tell this man that she's basically a convicted felon. Because they have this big rule on this planet about following the rules. And she thinks that maybe if she tells him, she will be cast out, which she does not want. Just your typical alien romance book. And oh, and also there was a part in like the in the summary synopsis of the book on like Goodreads or something that like left like a main point out, and it's not a spoiler. Like during the whole book, like an assassin is sent to kill her. I saw the assassin right from the first kill attempt. So it was predictable. But overall, it was just an okay alien romance book, so I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was The Vilkas Servant by Pearl Fox. Basically, it's about women who are also taken by aliens to their planet. So these women are on a spaceship, but these wolf shifter aliens somehow go and capture them, take them to their planet because they want females for servitude. That's why they're taken. And the second in command of the planet, the ruler of the space wolves, realizes that these women have been captured for not so great things, and so he goes to stop it. He catches the eye of the most defiant woman in the group and convinces the men who captured them to not put them into basically as sex slaves, but to help them just around the castle with working chores, stuff like that. And it's just about the woman who I was talking about and second in command, the Omega, forming a connection together. And overall, I really enjoyed this. I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember I did enjoy it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, so that means I must have enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, I wish I could continue the rest of the series, but it costs money. Even just like $3 on Amazon is too much for me at this point. The girl is broke. The 6th book that I read in October is Her Rebel to Kiss by Deborah Salonen. This was another free book on Amazon, by the way. I don't remember if I've hauled it or not. If not, it will be in my next ebook haul. This is about a woman named Nikki, and her whole life she has loved her old next door neighbor Justin. So when they were kids, she was absolutely obsessed with her next door neighbor Justin, and she tried so many ways to impress him, but the last time she tried to impress him turned out to be a tragedy for both of them. So they have not talked in, I think it takes place 10 years after the incident that happens between them when they're teenagers. But years later, Nikki's boss orchestrates a masked ball in hopes to reconnect them. And it's just about them. It's a romance. I think a typical romance book, ebook. There's nothing really all that special about it to me. So I gave it a 2 stars. I think it was mainly because I didn't really like the main characters all that much. I didn't see anything that stood out for me. They weren't really unique in a way, and everyone is unique, and they were quite ordinary. And I didn't find it all that appealing. Just like the last half of the book, I remember it just fell flat for me. It did. On a happier note, the 7th book that I read in October is And I Darkened by Kirsten White. This was a buddy read with Hannah from Being the Bookologist. I will link her channel down below. I love her videos a lot. Y'all should totally go check her out. But yes, we read this book in October, and we are currently in the midst of reading Now I Rise, the 2nd book, and we're actually adding another person to our buddy read. We are adding Averie from Caught Between Pages to our buddy read, in hopes to hopefully read the whole series. I want to hopefully read the whole series by the end of the year. That's what I want to do. But she is joining us for our 2nd book, so I will also leave her channel link down below because I'm really, really excited for that. But this book I loved. Basically, this is the story of Vlad the Impaler, but gender bent. So Vlad the Impaler is now called Lada the Impaler in this book. So this is if Vlad the Impaler was born a woman. And it's just her and her brother Radu and their life, because their father, who's also named Vlad, basically exchanges his kids for protection from the Ottoman Empire, I'm pretty sure. And so these kids at the age of like 11 or 12 or something go and live in a palace in a foreign land with a whole entire new religion. They're basically forced education that they've never known before, or a culture they've never known before, down their throats. It was just so interesting to read about. We also have another main character named Mehmed, and I loved him a lot, even though at times like I found myself like just like yelling at him because at times he was so stupid. I don't want to spoil, but like there's like a love triangle in this book, and I'm not normally one for love triangles. I love the Hunger Games and all, but like I didn't see the point in Gale in the book. I didn't. This love triangle, actually a love triangle. Like it's good. It's good. I know it's like painful to read because obviously some people don't get what they want out of the situation that they're in. I can't talk about it in detail. I loved it a lot, and I can't wait for the next books. I can't wait. The next book that I read in October is To Claim a King by May Sage. So this was another free book on Amazon, and I loved the cover of it, so I got it for free. Basically, this is about a woman named Xandri, and she is accused of like being the daughter of the devil in her hometown because she has this like firepower she never knew she had. Even though they live in a town of witches or warlocks, powerful witchcraft people, I don't know. But since she has this firepower and can incinerate people, she is accused of being a devil worshiper. And she ends up being rescued by a dragon and taken to a dragon land where the king of the dragons catches his eye. But Xandri is also thrust into this battle to win the heart of the king, and yeah, the winner becomes queen, and she's thrust into that, which is a mere human or possible witch. We don't really know until some way through the book what happens with that, but she's thrust into this battle with or this competition, this battle with other dragon women, so it's quite intimidating to her. But the king really wants Xandri to win this because he has feelings for her too, so it's just them connecting. And it's really cute and really steamy. I really enjoyed it. The only critique that I really have in this book is that it could have been longer. I think it's 200 something pages when it would be so much better if it was longer. If there's more to the story, even if there's something added on to the end, like I just thought that there could be more added. If there was more added, it would be so much better. So I enjoyed it though, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The 9th book that I read was To Catch a Prince by May Sage, and this is the 2nd book, To Claim a King. Oh my gosh, what's today's date? Today the 3rd book comes out! I was about to say that I was waiting on the 3rd book to come out. That's why I don't have it on this list, is because I haven't read the 3rd book yet, because it comes out November 8th, and today's November 8th! Okay, I have to go download it, like, right after this video. Basically, yes, this is the 2nd book, To Claim a King, and it's following Xandri's sister, who's an enchantress. And I really enjoyed this one too. I'm like really enjoying this series, and I hope the third one is as good as these. And I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Yes, the only critique that I have is, again, it was too short for me. The 10th book that I read in October is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. I will not be talking about this a lot because I've talked about it a lot on my channel. I even have a reaction vlog and review that I did for this book. I will link it down below if you want to watch it. The first half of it is spoiler free. It's just me going to get the book and talking about my overall thoughts about it. So if you want to check it out, go check it out. Basically, this book wrecked me. It wrecked me. This is also the longest book that I've ever read, coming at a whopping 980 pages. And I read it in 3 days and listened to the audiobook at the same time. Really, really, really love the audiobook. The narrator is the same for all the books, and she does a fantastic job. But yeah, this wrecked me. And if you want to watch my vlog where I cry for 5 minutes, feel free to go check it out. And of course, yes, this is a 5 out of 5 stars. It's the best book Sarah's ever written, I swear to you. Okay, so the next 2 books are books that I had to read for my British literature class. And this unit, we were learning about the Victorians, so these are 2 works from the Victorian era. So first we have The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Stevenson. I listened to the audiobook, I think on YouTube, because it's on YouTube. I thought it was okay. Like, I gave it a 4 stars because I think it's a great piece of work. I think it was a great influence on the Victorian society, and I thought it was a great contribution to that. It's not really my cup of tea. I can appreciate how great it was, but I personally don't read those books out of my own enjoyment, if you want to just say that. And so the 12th book that I read was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And this one I love. I love this book. I've read it a couple of times now, and love, love, love the audiobook. Love the audiobook. For anyone who does it, basically. The audiobook is so fun. I love the humor. I love the little jabs that Dickens makes at Victorian society. It's just, it's so good. It's like a classic that I think everyone should read. And it would have been better if like this was one of the last books of the term, just because it would be around Christmas time and that would have put me in a Christmas spirit. But yeah, I found myself in a Christmas spirit like in October because of this book. But I really, really, really loved it and gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The 13th and final book that I read in October is Coercion by Chloe Cole. And this was another free book on Amazon, so stay tuned for my ebook haul. So this is about a girl named Willa Stone who is cast off by her pack because the alpha has broken their lifelong engagement because they've been in an arranged marriage since they were born, because he's found the love of his life. He doesn't like cast her out, but he breaks their engagement because he's found someone to love. He wants to marry that person and not Willa. Willa leaves the pack in hopes that maybe she can find someone who can love her truly. But Willa's parents have a different idea. They're very power hungry, so they decide to force an arranged marriage onto Willa with a dragon shifter. And just the repercussions of Willa being in an arranged marriage with a dragon shifter. I don't really remember a lot that happened in this book. My brain is just like dead after midterms because I don't remember what happened. I read this book during midterms. It's gone from my brain. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think I remember I really enjoyed the romance. I thought their connection was great because there was a hint of angst in there, and I loved my angsty couples. The hate to love trope is wonderful. But there were some instances that I didn't really like. There's just like a scene where he gets mad at her and he does something that I don't really approve of. It's not like bad, but like I don't like it. So many of their problems could have been resolved if they just talked to each other like normal people, which they didn't do. I don't like those instances, and that happened a lot in this book. But overall, I thought it was a good book. So there you have it. Here are some of the books that I read in October. These are all the physical ones. I enjoyed all but one physical book on this list. And the ebooks I normally are pretty mediocre just because I just get them because I need a little story to get my brain off of something, so I normally read them in between classes or before classes when like I'd rather just read a book than sit and stare at a wall, listen to music. That's why I read those ebooks. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books or if you plan to. But anyways, yeah, thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all soon with a new video. Bye!